Hey guys, welcome back to my studio. Lately I have been very much in the mood for Halloween. Even though it's not quite October yet, I've started watching some horror movies, and I just watched Beetlejuice with my mom, and that was really good. And so I have just been in the mood to draw some creatures that are not quite human, not quite animal. Basically, I wanted to draw some ghost bunnies, and I had this idea for a really long time. I think I was in college when I first drew a little character concept for a necromancer girl who she brought back her pet bunnies from the dead, but they were like still mostly ghost, except you could see like their skulls. And I didn't really know how to draw rabbits at that time, so that concept never really went anywhere, but I decided to revisit it. And so I just wanted to draw a whole bunch of ghost bunnies. So I started with just looking up references of rabbits. I think I literally typed just rabbits into Google search and I found some various poses of rabbits, like jumping around and some of them just sleeping, and I wanted to draw them but in my style and give them a kind of spooky look. Usually I don't really like doing line art, but lately I have changed my mind just a little bit, and I think that's partly because I've gotten a lot more loose with my lines and I don't worry about them being super perfect anymore. But also I got one of those screen protectors for my iPad that make it textured like you're drawing on paper, and that has just made me want to use my iPad a whole bunch. So that's why I'm doing some digital art today. It's kind of funny because I remember getting one of those screen protectors before in the past, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't like it for the same reason that I like it now. Like, it was too similar to drawing on paper, but back then I wasn't used to drawing on paper anymore because I had just been doing digital art for so long that I wanted that like really smooth glass feel of drawing, well, directly on the iPad screen. But now that I'm doing more traditional art, I like the texture and I've gotten used to it, and I just am more comfortable with it. So with getting the screen protector, that makes it feel like, well, closer to actual paper. It doesn't feel exactly like paper, but it is a lot more close. That just makes me want to do a whole bunch more digital art, and I've just gotten really excited about it. And it's also just way more convenient for me to do digital art because I can do it literally everywhere, and I rarely have time to just sit in my studio. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win. But anyway, back to the bunnies. The line art for them went really smoothly and quickly, and I kind of felt that way about this whole drawing in general. I decided to turn this into a little sticker sheet, so I arranged them on the page, and later on I kind of rearranged them because I didn't like how it looked and I wanted to make the actual sheet just a little bit smaller. But I worked on them kind of all simultaneously. So I did the sketches for all of them, and then I did the line art for all of them, and then I colored them all in with the base color and shaded them in with each color at the same time. So the end result was really simple, but I like the simplicity of it. I think they look really bubbly and just cute, and they kind of look like water rather than like ghosts, but I'm okay with it. I think it's cute either way. So when I was doing the actual shading, there wasn't much rhyme or reason when it came to both the colors I chose and the tones of them, so like the lightness and the darkness. I decided to start with this darker blue color and just kind of put it in the places that you would typically see shadows, but also just in kind of random places that I thought looked nice. There wasn't a whole lot of thought behind it. I just let my intuition take control and just had a lot of fun with it and just didn't worry too much about what made sense. But I still wanted it to make a little bit of sense, so I still tried to keep somewhat of the rules of lighting. So for instance, some of the parts with the darker blue blobs, I chose that color for where the rabbit's limbs intersected. And at some point I decided that it looked way too much like water, and I think it's because I initially chose this like darker blue color. So I changed it to a more like turquoisey, really light blue-green color, and I thought that made it look a lot more ghostly. It still kind of looks like water, just tropical water, I guess, rather than darker water. I don't know. After the blue, I went in with some yellow, and I treated that kind of like a highlight, but also just in places where I thought it could use some more variation and I thought would look cute. And then after the yellow, I chose a green color, and I did kind of the same thing that I did with the yellow, except I used it more as a reflection color. So imagine there's like a green glowing light around the bunnies. You would see some of that green like within the shadows. So that's why I added a lot of green to like the dark blue areas to make it look like it was a reflected color so that the shadow wouldn't be so dark. And then lastly, I just added some sparkles and some shines to the bunny's eyes, I guess, eye sockets, just because it's cute and that's what I do. And then once all the coloring was done, I outlined everything, and the way I do that is I put everything on its own layer, and then I went to layer, make selection from layer, I think it's called, and then from there you can click on the select menu in Clip Studio Paint and expand the selection, and you could choose how many pixels you want. I think I did like 30 or 40, and that makes a really nice outline around the entire thing that you can then make a layer underneath your artwork and color that whatever you want. So whatever you want the outline to be. And then because I use a brush that has kind of a chalky texture, and so because of that the lines are not like perfectly smooth, and so because of that the selection is not going to be perfectly smooth either. So I have to go in and clean up some areas so that when I later go in my silhouette to cut out the stickers, it doesn't get like the lines don't look too jagged or anything. But after I did all that and I did the outlines, I went in and I chose this pink background because I thought it popped really nicely. And here's the finished sticker sheet. But I didn't stop there. I was pretty happy with how the ghost bunnies looked, but of course I just had to draw a humanoid version of one of the bunnies because I just love drawing characters. I love drawing people, and I've been really into drawing people lately. I think I took a pretty long break from it for a while, and I was just drawing animals and nature. But now I've been drawing more and more people. So I wanted to draw a little personified bunny, and I drew her pretty much the exact same way as I drew the other bunnies. I just did the same brush and started with the outline and then the base color, and I used the same exact colors that I used for the ghost bunnies. And I also drew her holding one of the ghost bunnies just because I thought that would be pretty cute. I had some trouble drawing her eyes. It took me a while because I didn't know exactly what expression I wanted her to make. I eventually settled on a very grumpy look of distaste, like she's angry that you're there. She just wants to be alone with her little ghost bunny. Her hair also gave me a little bit of trouble. I actually ended up going back eventually, and then off camera I fixed the hair a little bit and I just changed the shapes into something that I was happier with. There isn't too much of a, I guess, process behind it. I just wanted everything to look very flowy and pleasing, I guess. I don't know. I wish I could describe better how I want certain things to look, but I just wanted this to be very free-flowing, if that makes sense. Like she's a ghost, so she's floating in the air, and her hair and her tail and her ears are just kind of doing their own thing and don't really listen to the laws of gravity or anything else. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, with the coloring, I just did it the same way that I did the ghost bunnies, except as you'll see, I end up using an in-between blue between the lighter, like turquoise color, and then the darker color that I use for like the shadows area. I decided to use an in-between because the drawing of her is a little more complex than just like the bunnies, so I wanted to add a little bit more dimension. And I think that's all I really have to say. This was just a fun little thing that I decided to do. I wanted to add some more stickers to my Etsy shop, and I also, just in general, wanted to draw some spooky things. So there isn't too much to talk about here, but I'm really happy with how they turned out, and you'll see a video of like the printed finished stickers. But I will leave you here for now and enjoy the rest of the drawing. here's how the stickers turned out. Again, I think they look super cute and I'm very excited about them. And I hope you like them and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Thank you so much to my awesome patrons, Harry Hamster, Subside, Nene, and Mikey. You guys are super awesome and I appreciate you.